He touched at the end on digitalization. Data is digital. Everything these days is digital. And digital is going to be the theme as we go towards the end of the evening, the end of this particular set of panels and the beginning of the next set of panels. We're going to be starting to talk about digitalization. Our next speaker is Hana's Liebe, who's the general manager at S4 Hana, and his topic is the digital future. Our first kickoff in this space. Hannes.
Have a mind, a subconscious, a power to store every experience and call upon it through something called intuition. Can a company have reflexes, a nervous system, the ability to react precisely and correctly, faster than the speed of thought? Can an enterprise have a sixth sense, a knack for predicting the future? Can a business have a spirit? Can a business have a soul? Can a business be alive?
Is it on, my mic? Yeah? You hear me well? What we just saw, there's a business. Is a business able? It's not there? You can't hear me? Wow, that's going to be challenging. A German behind the pulpit, you know? I'll try my best. Why would you have a software executive talking about software at a leadership conference? And I believe that the timing couldn't be better of inviting technologists and software executives to the top of the organizations. Because the reason is that I believe we are right now worldwide, but also in Pakistan at a tipping point. If we look back in history, 100 years, we had the Industrial Revolution, end of the 19th century. Then we moved on. You know, the second revolution, maybe you could call the internet to this, electricity to that. First electricity, then the internet. But I believe right now, we're at the brink of something completely new. And I call, you know, when we talk here about innovating for the future, I'm having a clear conviction as an individual, but as well as a representative of one of the largest software companies in the world, that the future is right now. And my intent is today to spark with you the same enthusiasm that we are having in the industry, but on the other side, to push a bit so that you see there has to be a sense of urgency to be applied. And I believe this is especially relevant for Pakistan, who is in a similar tipping point. I'm personally an enthusiast and a big believer into the power of Pakistan. We heard a lot during the day about the talent, about the potential, about the demographics, about the culture, about the history, about the heritage. And I believe this is exactly the right preparation for what is to come and what technology can enable in Pakistani businesses to go beyond the country, to go beyond the continent. Because digital has no boundaries. Why not having the next Uber, the next Airbnb, the next Apple coming from Pakistan? In digital, it does not matter where the physical location is going to be. So 5 things are defining right now our lives, regardless whether our private lives or our business lives. 5 things. First, hyperconnectivity. If I look around the tables here, ladies and gentlemen, I can see every one of you has at least one device. Most of you have 2. Some of you have 3. If I take your tablets and all the other things to it. How many toothbrushes do you have? 1, 2? So if you maybe go across, you could see that the number of devices is just increasing. Predictions say, you know, probably in 2-3 years, we have already 4-5 devices, Fitbits, and, you know, all these other things that we have which are digital. On top of it, mobile phone penetration, 3G is, just persuasive everywhere. 50% of the world's population already today have internet access. 50%. And it's just going to increase. Second, supercomputing. I have my phone here in my pocket. You have yours on the tables. And I can just tell you that that phone has the computing power of the two supercomputers of the end 80s, where the targets for nuclear weapons were measured in and were managed through. So in just 20 years, a bit more than 25 years, whatever, a little device that all of us have, our kids are having, is having more computing power than the supercomputers of those days. Third, cloud. This is a big buzzword, but what I wanted to say with this, cloud stands for a complete commoditization of software, because you can get access to the world's best software in an instant. You don't need any more engineers coming, installing this for days and years, maybe. You have, in an instant, the access to it. And by that as well, unlimited compute power. Smarter world, we heard from my pre-speaker a bit about IoT. With billions and billions of devices producing data points at any point in time. In this room, I would guess there's hundreds of sensors. If you drive home after this full day, average car, 2,000, 3,000 sensors. Just imagine, all these are data points which are not yet fully leveraged. If you are running a business today and you understand how to manage your data, you're going to lead your pack. You're going to be on top of it. So data is on the one side the asset, but those who will understand how to deal with data, how to manage the data into information, into insights, and then take action on it, going to be the ones who will win. And the last one is cyber. I put this up with intention. We read a lot about what's happening in the cyberspace and in the cybersecurity space specifically, but I believe going forward at a highly accelerated rate, we will be impacted as businesses and as individuals heavily by cybersecurity. When Ukraine was negotiating with Russia the next energy deal and whether they should pay the gas bills or not, all of a sudden, in the 3 major cities, the system of the utility company went down, got hacked. Where's the leverage in your business that someone could take? And it doesn't need to be government to government. This can be individuals who take leverage on your business. So going forward, this will be a trend you might want to keep an eye on because it is already there, whether for you as an individual again or for your business. And it gets faster. 3D printing. We all buy toys for our kids, right? In future, why not 3D print them? It's faster, cheaper, they cry for the next figure, you say, okay, fine. You buy the code, you 3D print it in your house. Why driving to the mall? If you think this a bit further of what you can 3D print, we heard this morning from Dr. Atta as well, that organs can be 3D printed already. Scientifically, this is possible, and there's already prototypes. This will revolutionize the way we will have to run our businesses. You're manufacturing today, you're proud of your manufacturing line, great. How does this look in 10 years from now? And are you ready for that? Robotics. This has to do with manufacturing on the one side, but as well human enhancements. The market for robotics is going to just explode. And we will have to work with robotics, and we will have to build this into our business processes. It will be just a given. And last but not least, and this is especially interesting for me as a software guy, artificial intelligence. So in many occasions, we already see the glimpse coming over this. We have an HR solution. Actually, PTCL is using this software even here in Pakistan. One of the very first companies who have been using the state-of-the-art HR software. But there, for example, we could look at doing CV matching to the role post. So why do you need a person for that? You need a person to select amongst the last 3. But browsing through hundreds of CVs, artificial intelligence can do this much better. Why? Because there's zero bias. Zero. It's just what is the fit for the role. And if you have a learning machine behind this, it will get better and better and better. So all these three things, on top of what the 5 megatrends that I showed before, will change the way we're going to do business. And one thing is for sure, early adopters are winning this. Early adopters are winning in this game. There is a tremendous opportunity for first movers, and that's why the future is now. There is no time to wait. There's no time to catch up. It is an opportunity to leapfrog generations of IT systems, to leapfrog, progression through business process re-engineering, and you name it. This is the chance for countries like Pakistan to simply leapfrog out of this and be a first mover into digital. So what does it win? What does it mean to win in this era? This question is so relevant for what we at SAP do. Why? Because we are the world market leader on business process automation. We've been doing this, for 40 years. 75% of the world's business transactions touch an SAP system. So we are in the heart of this. But I can tell you one thing. If we are not looking at digital with the same seriousness as I'm just proclaiming it to you, we're going to be out of business. We're going to be the Kodak of software or the Nokia of mobile phones. Why? Because it is changing the way companies will run business processes. It will change it dramatically. And it will bring different companies who are far more competitive in your industry as well. And it's not about size. You can be small, and if you use the right digital tools, you'll see what that does. So customers approach and says, okay, SAP, let's sit together. What can we do? I don't know much about digital. Please help me. You know my business process. You know my industry. Help me. And I'd like to share now 3 angles on what we discuss with customers, and I give you 3 concrete examples as well on how that could turn into reality, just to spark your imagination, what that could mean for your business as well. First, there's a huge opportunity of creating completely new business models. Fundamentally different business models in your own industry. So let me give you an example. All of you who do sports will know a company called Under Armour. Okay? It's an American sportswear company, competing with the likes of Adidas, Nike, Asics, Puma, you name it. If you are in the apparel and footwear business today and you're selling sports shoes and sports gear, this is a tough business because everyone produces overseas and you compete by price. By design as well, you might hit the taste, sometimes you don't hit the taste. Very difficult business to grow. So they came to us and says, what does digital do to a company who produces shoes and t-shirts? And after a series of workshops with the business leaders, we came to a conclusion that actually Under Armour is not a shoe and not a sportswear company. They are a health provider. Because what do? You wear those shoes and you work out, you run, you go to the gym, you play tennis. So what they do right now is they equip t-shirts and shoes with electronic sensors. And then you can register to a community where you upload your, how many steps you did, and what's your heart rate, etc., all those data. Right now, Under Armour has 200 million registrants on their health platform. 200 million. So let me make a prediction. If you are having the data of 200 million people, you know them really, really well, then you can say, you can go from not only selling them new t-shirts, but you can even go further, giving them advice on insurance, giving them advice on food, giving them advice on health matters, and so on and so forth, which is all a source for a new business model. So maybe going forward 10 years from now, Under Armour will give you the t-shirt for free. It's just one example. Let me give you another example. Now I'm coming from the rather fancy one to something very traditional. One of the German leading champions, it's a decent business, but it's mid-size, okay? It's called Käse. Yeah, I see one of my German friends sitting here. He might know the name. This is a very traditional business. Mr. Käse is still there. And now they built compressors for industries, huge compressors. You sell a compressor, okay, let it be, I don't know how much the compressor of Käse will be, let's say it's $2 million, okay? You sell that, they install it, they maintain it, and so on and so forth. How often do you sell to this customer the compressor? Not so often, I can tell you. So they said, yeah, it's a bit, our question is predictable. So here's what digital does to them. They moved from selling a compressor to selling compressed air. They equip the whole thing with sensors, they put you the compressor on your factory, that's it. And from now on, they just, by cubical meters, charge you every month the bill of how much compressed air you had. Now, that's a different business model. That's a totally different predictability. And how do you want to compete against a company like that? You change the game. You have a different business model, and it's not inventing a new compressor. It's just equipping it with digital equipment, having the right platform behind so. And here you go. The future is now. Second, different business processes. I give you a very, very simple example. We work with Harley-Davidson. Everyone knows Harley-Davidson, I assume. Fantastic brand. You know what's the fantastic thing about Harley-Davidson? Everyone who owns a Harley-Davidson has a different one than the next one, because you want to make this is yours. Yeah? So for them, the challenge was, how can I have a business process in that way that I'm doing the customization? I have to do it. So they came to us and says, SAP, you run our production. How can I make it sure that not the after sale, everyone else makes money, but we don't. We just sell the raw model and everyone else does the customization. Today, every Harley-Davidson that goes out through the production is produced in 3 hours, but it's completely customized. You as a client can customize it and they produce it in 3 hours. Digital enables this on the shop floor today. And last but not least, the way we're going to work going forward will change. We work already at the cutting edge with customers on contingent labor management, because they realized that potentially people will not work a lifetime with them anymore, maybe not even a year, and they hire for specific projects, for specific tasks. And if you look at the millennial generation, this is exactly in which direction they take us already. I have millennials in my team, and I tell you, if I'm not really watching out, after 2 years, off they go, and they're gone. So it's going to be shorter and shorter and shorter, and that means the way we work has to be much more collaborative. It will be remote, and it will be on a contingent basis going forward. So all of those necessarily mean opportunity for you, and also for me, because it can change the way how competitive you're going to be in your industry. Now, let me give this an SAP spin. I firmly believe that we are entering the next step into this, which goes beyond just taking sensor data and displaying it. It goes beyond collecting data and bringing it into reports. I believe that the next winning game gonna be to have it completely interwoven into your process. Why? Because if you think about artificial intelligence, you want to have all data available, then make conclusions on the spot. If I'm a logistics manager and I'm looking into my warehouse and I need to know whether I can cater for the next sales order, and do I have enough material there? Do I have to produce? Do I have to purchase more? Do I have enough into the warehouse? You want to know this in an instant. You don't want to know it in the next steps. So far, this was not possible. That's why, from an SAP perspective, we are putting all eggs into one basket, which is to drive full automation of a digital core system. Over are the years of ERP. Because ERP you can use this, and we are the leading ERP platform. But digital imposes totally different requirements to an ERP system today. Let me give you some examples. Käse compressors had one sales order for that one compressor. Now, the clock is ticking every day. So we go into an explosion of the load of transactions. All these digital models are just producing data and load on the system, so you have to have something that is scalable and made for the next generation of ERP. So if you think about this, when you're looking into your next decision, I can only recommend you to think one step ahead. It's not about today's problem. It's going to be, what is the load of the day after tomorrow? Because you don't want to do this every 3 years or so. And then on top of it, it has to be embedded with everything surrounding it, whether it's the customer experience, whether it's your workforce engagement, whether it's everything you do with the spend and interaction with other companies, or it is on the IoT and the supply chain side. All of that together brings this alive. And you know, I could throw more buzzwords at you, yeah, with blockchain, etc. All these things are interrelated into this, and they will just accelerate the need for a digital core system. This is one of my last slides, and I'd like to explain why we had to redefine business process automation. We started 2 years ago with this, and the reason is, if you do digital, it's about the segment of one, it's about the lot size of one, and it has to be live, I mean really live, not yesterday's real time of this very moment, in the moment. Otherwise, digital business models will not work. They will not get alive. Segment of one is incredibly important if you think about how customers buy from you and how your customers' gonna buy. It's always about the one person. It's always about, and it's, if you talk to government, I just came out of a session in the Middle East with the government, and it's about one view to the citizen. How do you get one view to the citizen? It's a segment of one. You don't want to know it by clusters. You don't want to know it on aggregates. You want to know it for the one individual. You want to serve one individual. Lot size of one. It's exactly the same element. The trend will go so that you know exactly where you are, regardless in which industry you are. Lot size of one is going to be the power. It's about that 1 cubical meter that KSA is producing, or that the compressor is producing, so that they know exactly what is that one. And last but not least, live, and it has to be at scale. Because scale is going to be the secret sauce for this. Only through scale this will come alive. You can do all of this in a microscopic view, but you can never do it at scale. This is the challenge to us in reinventing ourselves, and it's going to be the challenge for all of you in this room. Once you start with digital, scale is going to be the key parameter. So therefore, redefined, we threw our ERP to the side and said, okay, we have to redefine it completely again, and we are now with S/4HANA on a new generation of ERP. I can tell you, for us, this has been the most difficult decision to do. Because it's really, if we would have not done it, we probably would be disrupted as well. So, the same urgency we apply to our business, I can only encourage you, apply to your own business as well. For us, it was reinventing the core system, and for you, it's going to be to really think, how can digital help me to change my business process, to change my business model, and to change the way we work in your company. You can start from different areas. You can start from customer experience. You can start from looking into real time, predictive insights. I would fully agree with my colleague who spoke before. You can start with cross-enterprise collaboration. Just an example, we have a platform called Ariba. On Ariba, right now, we have 1.9 million companies transacting their entire purchasing processes at any point in time, 1.9 million. So that means we are selling more than Alibaba, eBay, and Amazon together in one day. Why? Because the question is, why do you need a purchaser and a seller doing all those manual processes, sending each other emails, making each other phone calls, if actually technology can make this very, very seamless? And the last one is machine learning. You're going to see a lot from SAP in this space. because we believe this is the future. Many of the things we do in an ERP system or in a business process system can be covered by machine learning already today. In closing, you might sit here and say, yeah, Hannes, that's all great, but I'm not a footwear and apparel company, and I really don't know how I could sell by cubical meters. I understand. And some customers tell me, he says, Hannes, but I have this other problem, and I have to fix this other problem first. I agree. Let's fix it. But that's the difference between tactics and strategy. Because tactics is knowing what to do when there is something to do. So let's fix it. But let's keep at that pivotal point in time an eye on strategy. Because strategy is knowing what to do when there's actually nothing to do. So with that, thank you very much for having me. Digital is now. Thank you.
Hannes, thank you. Thank you. Stay, please.